Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Rats on Film, the show where a bunch of film rats chat about movies. On the show today, we're doing a little rat chat about Project Hail Mary. Really excited about it. On the show with me today, I have Jordan.
Yes, showtime.
Johnny.
Hello.
And I'm your host, Xander. Welcome to the show, everybody. So if you listened to our 2026 movie draft episode, this is the movie that I was the most excited about for this year. So of course, we're going to do a little rat chat about it. Came out, saw it in a giant IMAX screen, and I'm quite excited to talk about it with you guys today.
I saw it on a regular screen.
The screening that we were at, Phil Lord and Chris Miller and a bunch of the producing team actually showed up to introduce the movie, and they said that the screening that we were at was the theater that they made the movie to be seen in. So that felt pretty cool.
That is cool. And you didn't know they were going to be there?
No idea.
I know, it was kind of crazy.
Cool.
The trailers were on, and a friend that we were with turned around and they were like, oh, I think they're behind us. And we looked and we were like, yeah, that's definitely them. And then they just stood there for all of the trailers, and then the Nicole Kidman ad, everything. And then they walked down to the front and they introduced the movie. And then after they introduced the movie, the Odyssey trailer and the Dune 3 trailer came on, and they came back in to watch that, and then they left.
Which is honestly pretty hype.
Yeah.
Are Phil Lord and Chris Miller at the point where they really get the recognition that they deserve? Because I mean, I've definitely liked them for a while, and I know a lot of people have. I'm not trying to be like, I discovered them. I did watch Clone High, but I'm not trying to be like that. But consistently, they are really producing and directing and just making really good, innovative stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would say they're underrated, but I'm with you. I have been a fan. I definitely didn't discover them. I feel like the Lego Movie is what made me really fall in love with them.
Same.
And they had made stuff before that. That's not their first movie by any means, but yeah, I love the Spider-Verse movies. I love the Lego Movie. The Jump Street movies are great. They're really consistent.
But have they even had a miss since Jump Street?
Not to me.
Yeah.
I mean, even Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
I think that movie rules.
Cloudy,
yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, I think maybe they're getting their flowers now. I think this movie is putting them on the map for normies. I think this is their crowning achievement so far, and I hope that it'll only open more doors for them. I do think obviously they were in the conversation with Spider-Verse because those movies are amazing and really revolutionized the industry, but I do think this, looking at them as directors and not just creative producers, is putting them on the map as some of the all times.
I feel like where my reverence from them came from with the Lego Movie as well is when I'm a huge Lego guy. I love Legos, and when the Lego Movie got announced, I was like, that's so fucking stupid. What are they?
I think a lot of people were
to do with that. Yeah. And then I saw the movie and was mind blown how good it was. And I feel like I went, who made this? How did they come up with this? Someone pitches you make a movie with the IP Lego, and this is what you made, but it's amazing. And I feel like that's what really kind of clued me in to pay attention to them and what they were doing.
The reason that movie's so good, and the reason why all of their movies are so good, is they have this beautiful blend of silly meets sincerity. And it's in all of their films. And I think it's something that really appeals to me and really appeals to a lot of people. That magic combination,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think there's something so genuine about the way that they adapt stories.
Mm-hmm.
To your point about the Lego Movie, it does feel pretty original and personal, even though it is a story about, Lego. And it easily could have just been something to sell toys.
Mm-hmm.
There's heart to the story. And I think all of their movies are based on something.
I think so, yeah.
None of them are originals.
Meatballs is a book. 21 Jump Street's a show.
So
Spider-Verse is...
Yeah, obviously, Spider-Man is huge.
Yeah.
So I think being able to adapt work and then still bring your own creative touch, because there is a through line between all of their work too, to what Johnny was just saying, that sense of humor. And I think that's really good for them.
And to talk about this movie too, it's interesting. When the trailers were coming out a little while ago, I honestly did not buy into the trailers that much. I didn't really think, the earlier trailers. I don't know if I saw the later trailers. I was kind of I don't know that this looks that good, but I knew that they were attached to it, and I like sci-fi and I like Ryan Gosling, so I always was in the back of my mind it will be good though. And spoiler, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess let's talk about Project Hail Mary. Super quick synopsis for anyone not familiar. The sun on Earth is dying, and Ryan Gosling plays Ryland Grace, an astronaut who wakes up with amnesia on a spaceship very far away from home, and he's trying to piece together why he's there and what he's supposed to be doing. So really quick, we're going to do a spoiler-free section, give our reaction to the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, because it's just come out, you can listen and then go see it and then come back and then we'll do a spoiler section. So spoiler-free, what did you guys think of the movie?
Thumbs down, but that actually means thumbs up.
Yeah, for real.
So what I'm trying to say is good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. It's just like a really heartwarming, fun time at the movies.
Yeah, I feel like I'll be really hyperbolic on this movie just because of how much I loved it. But this is like what I love about movies. I'm so into this. I think it has everything that I want. It's got amazing heart. It's got comedy. It's got great performances. It's visually stunning. It's technically amazing. I just had such an incredible experience watching it and enjoying it. I guess I should say I'm a fan of the book. I've read the book twice. I love Andy Weir's books. I've read all of them. And so I think they did a phenomenal job with the adaptation as well. And I just couldn't have asked for anything more as a fan of Project Hail Mary.
And that's interesting that you're such a fan having read the book too. Because usually those are the people that lambast movie adaptations.
Especially
these days. Yeah. We're in a big era of people being upset about how
Wuthering
they're
Heights
adapting
controversy.
Wuthering Heights people are mad about the Odyssey that hasn't even come out yet. People are upset about how armor looks in the trailer. Like, we're in a moment where people are very protective of books that they're fans of. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the book, and I think it's not one-to-one for the book, but it captures everything that it needed to for the book. The spirit is so intact.
Well, I don't even think you're not unprotective. I think you are protective, but they just did a good job. Like you said, the spirit, is intact.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I think we spoke about when we were talking about people we meet on vacation, I think it's always good to see an author endorsement in the public. And Andy Weir has been very public about being like, I'm behind this adaptation.
Yeah, he produced the movie.
And he's involved. And I think obviously that always helps. I listened to the audiobook. I didn't physically read this book, and I've never read any of Andy's other books, but I also was like mind blown at how good of an adaptation it is. There are obviously some things that are different, but I think everything that's in the movie works really well, and the changes made sense. I liked it a lot. I thought, as a fan of the book, I thought it was good, but also just as like a movie watcher, I thought it was like a really fun viewing experience.
It's the kind of movie where it's reminiscent to me of like an E.T. and a Jaws. An E.T. like obviously sci-fi element and tonally, but I also mean like a big blockbuster movie that has a very high budget and is extremely well made, but of something new and original of this time. Like, it's a recent book.
Sure.
It feels relevant to this time, and in a time where everybody's so like, I mean, blockbusters are basically reserved for sequels, legacy sequels, superhero movies, and anything that has an already established fandom. It's nice to see a movie like this, and that it's doing well as well.
I think you're right. I think it is very timely, and it feels modern and it feels relevant, but it also is evoking sort of this spectacle filmmaking that is reserved for franchises now, and something that is original and exciting to go watch and experience.
It really just feels like everyone was kind of in sync on this movie, and I think that's why it works so well, because we're seeing people who are like proud of their work. People are talking about it, and no one is like a blank for hire on this job. Like, it seemed like everyone was really committed to making the best movie possible, in front of the camera, behind the camera.
Yeah, I think it's seen top to bottom on the film. Like you said, in front of the camera, behind the camera, every department, there's just such a care and intentionality and a high level that was achieved just across the board of the filmmaking on this for me.
And partially, I think it's because, opposite of like a Marvel movie, the scale, even though that's in space, is so much smaller, right? Like, we're basically seeing 1 to 2 actors on screen at any given moment. There's only a couple sets, so you can really, put your money into those sets and put your time into those sets, because it's not like it's taking place in 8 different cities around the world. Like, it really is only taking place in a couple of places, so you can really, dedicate your time and energy and creative resources into making the few things that are on screen really impactful and really powerful.
Yeah. Any closing non-spoiler thoughts?
I think we should just get into it.
Yeah, okay. Let's get into it. Spoiler alert, if you've not seen the film, we're going to talk full spoilers now. Don't listen to this, or listen to it at your own peril. I don't care.
Was Rocky how you visualized him to be in the novel?
Can I tell you, Johnny? I talked about this with Jordan the other day. I'm curious for you to weigh in. When you read
I don't read,
books,
so it's kind of dead. Dead combo. Move on. Next question.
Do you, in the past, if you've read, do you visualize really strong imagery of people or places, or do you just kind of have like the vibe, more amalgamous stuff?
I think I do visualize it to a certain degree, but not to like down to every last detail, maybe. But I have an idea of what main characters look like in my head and what places look like.
I feel like in my brain, when stuff gets described in books, I take like the big picture stuff and then I kind of move on. I'm going to say to you, yes, that is how I imagined Rocky, but I didn't have like a really strong image of it. I had a little tiny, like dog-sized spider rock guy in my brain. And I think that's what they achieved.
That's basically what he was.
I mean, that's how he's described in the book for sure. I think the like little elements of like the details on his skin, like on the surface of the rock, like his little tattoos and like the green dots on his elbows/knees. I didn't picture any of that, but like the general rock spider vibe, I definitely had an image of that.
I think it's good you brought this up, Johnny, because I feel like that this is maybe the most important part and the most incredible achievement of this movie is Rocky, because I think that the movie doesn't really work if Rocky doesn't work.
Of course. It's a big swing.
Yeah, the whole thing is this guy in space's relationship with this rock. I love the classic space trope is that somebody goes into space and they had a bunch of people on Earth and then they're lonely when they're alone in space. And this story is like a flip on that, where it's a guy who kind of has nobody on Earth and he goes into space and he makes his first friend. And you really have to buy that friendship for the movie to work at all. They've done a little rock guy with no face as a full practical puppet that Ryan Gosling is alone on a ship with, interacting with, but I think it works flawlessly. I think it's so good.
And that's the thing too. It's the no face, which is the really impressive part to me, because obviously Rocky is somewhat cute, right? He's small and he has like a childlike dog-like movement to him. But everything is achieved through the pantomime and through the movement, which is really impressive and really well done, because it's a lot harder to get us to connect to anything without a face. You know what I mean? Like, even animated movies, when they're doing cars, they give the car a fucking face. It's not a car with no face.
Yeah, they're like the windshield's eyes.
Yeah.
I think too, James Ortiz here, the vocal performance, and he's also the puppeteer. I think that is also a huge part to bringing it to life and having the character feel alive. And you brought up E.T. earlier, Johnny, that we talked about before. We've talked about E.T., which is actors actually interacting with something, and you get more genuine, real performances, and you actually see a relationship developing, even though they're separated by a wall of glass or like a little ball or whatever. There's a real sense of the camaraderie being built over the course of the movie that you really fall in love with.
Yeah, and going back to Johnny's point about no face, since you brought up E.T., I feel like E.T. was a big swing because it's kind of like an ugly alien that we fall in love with.
Whoa, what the hell?
And here it's like,
on his
I love
planet, he might be really hot.
Yeah. E.T.'s hot for sure. But I think like that was a big swing. And then here it's like, it's cute, but only because we're making it cute. Like there's actually nothing cute about it other than the way that it moves and the way that it talks and the way that our brains like humanize what we would interpret as an inanimate object.
They took two things that everybody universally hates, rocks and spiders.
Exactly. And spiders, combine
them,
exactly.
Put that shit in space on a spiky ass ship. Cool. Like, it's set up for us to hate it.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah. That's success.
Yeah, and I think it's really powerful and kind of, telling at the times that we live in, and I guess people have always lived in. There's always been like intense prejudices. But when you can, develop this sort of feeling of love between these two characters, and to Johnny's point, it's literally a rock spider. Like, yeah, you see that we have more in common with like a made up rock spider. It kind of gives you hope to be like, maybe we can figure out the shit on Earth, like with people who actually have a lot more stuff in common with us, because we're all human beings.
I think that's such a great point, and I feel like that is the big picture of what this movie is and why I think it seems to be resonating with so many people and why it's so powerful. And like Johnny said, it's like of our time right now. I feel like what I love so much about the book that was really well captured in the film is just this feeling of optimism that it brings in a time that doesn't feel very optimistic, where there's this world-ending catastrophe that's happening. And everybody in the world for this moment has the smartest minds on earth have rallied together for this long shot Hail Mary attempt to try and save everything. And it's one middle school teacher in space on his own against all odds who runs into a little rock spider who's on the same mission, and they work together to find a solution. And I think there's a lot of hope in that. I think there's a real beauty in that in the story.
And I agree that that was the biggest a theme and thing of importance that I took away from the movie. And I think one reason it's so effective is because you go into space and you see this insane, huge, sharp, evil looking ship. And in many other movies, it would be like, oh shit, we're going to have to fight these guys. And in this movie, they only attempted to try to be friendly and to try to work together and go, we have a common problem. You are good at some things I'm not good at. I'm good at some things you're not good at. Even though we're completely different from completely different planets, we are facing the same thing, and we can work together and be stronger together than apart. And yeah, that feeling of optimism. And I think specifically when they're talking about Earth, there's a line in it where the scientist German lady is talking about how if they don't solve this problem in 30 years, there's not going to be enough food and 25% of the people on Earth are going to die. But actually, it's going to be more than that because the countries are not going to work together. Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so that's in direct comparison to the way that Grace is working together with a completely different species, and they're making it work through camaraderie, through friendship, through understanding, through openness, right? And why can they do it, but it can't be done on Earth? It's interesting.
Yeah, I think that stuff is really powerful in the film. And what I love here about Grace is that he's actually like a very flawed character. He's a coward, and he's isolated himself like in a prison of his own making. And it takes this extraordinary circumstance for him to come out of that shell that he's created. And I love the line from Captain Yao in the movie where he says to him, "Oh, I don't have the bravery gene that you have." And he says, "It's not a gene. You just have to have somebody to be brave for." And that person that he needs to be brave for ends up being Rocky, this little spider rock that he meets in space. I think it's a beautiful story.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because when I was watching the movie at the beginning, to be honest, I was a little bit like, this movie's a little bit too goofy. Like, what are the stakes? It felt like the pacing at the beginning was a little bit long at times. And even partway through the movie, I was thinking to myself, what is Grace's like character arc? I don't really know that much about him. And the movie is presented in a way where he has amnesia right at the beginning, and he's remembering things that are giving context to the situation. He's remembering how he got involved in this entire program. As you learn more about the character and the history, it recontextualizes everything, where then I do like the beginning. You're thinking at first, like, why is he joking about everything? Like, yeah, he's funny, but like, this is a serious situation. And you start to learn that this character is somebody who has no connection with people and is like desperate for connection. And like you said with that Yao line, which is a really, really great line, he doesn't have that. And it hurts him, and he knows it. And then over the course of this movie, he finds it in the most unlikely place. It's really well done. And structurally, like with the flashbacks and everything, really interesting. The way that as you're learning things, it really changes the way you thought about how he as a character has acted previously.
Yeah, and it kind of explains the way that he reacts, like originally when Rocky calls him brave, he's like, I'm not brave.
Right.
But then he even sees in himself at the end, like, yeah, I am brave. And that's like the character growth, obviously, that the Grace has through the movie. I also kind of like that. I hear like the criticism because I've thought about it, like that it's kind of dumb that it's like a middle school teacher who went through a PhD program and then like he's the one to save the world. But on the other hand of that, I think like Hope Corps is good. And yes, I think, 100%. It could be anyone. Like we should all be trying our best every day. Like we shouldn't just, give up because one thing didn't work out. And I think there's something kind of beautiful in that. And then to contrast that, I also think it's really nice that he wouldn't have done it alone. Like we do need each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you need somebody to believe in you too. That's a big part.
Yeah. Not only Rocky, but her,
Strat.
Character. So like, I think both of those themes in this movie are really, powerful at a time when there's just so much like anxiety and conflict in the world, where like we actually should all be working together and like believing in each other, our friends, our family. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes like a simple story that boils things down to being, no, we need each other. It's just like a nice, refreshing
And as we're dividing each other, these goddamn microbes are multiplying. And they're fucking us up.
They're eating the sun, dude.
I liked that explanation of why the world is ending. Because obviously, you know, it's a world-ending movie. Happens all the time. But you have to make me be like interested in this version of the world ending. Which sounds like a stupid sentence, but it's true. If it's actually something that's going to be fixed through like science and through problem solving, which I really like in the movie, like you got to present an idea, and I think this idea is really interesting, and it's just the right amount of complicated where it feels realistic but not too hard to understand.
Can we talk about the performances?
Yeah,
here
can
too?
we?
Because
We've been beating around the bush. I mean, what are we doing?
I think we have to give a shout out to Ryan Gosling for this. It's a tough job to be basically alone for half the movie.
He's talking
scenes
to himself the entire fucking movie. I mean, it's actually really impressive.
And then the rest of the scenes, the 25% of the other scenes are with Rocky, and then 25% of the other scenes are with basically one other actor, Sandra Hüller, who also is incredible in this film. And she's got a tough role to play as well. The Shrek character is a tough sell because there's got to be this level of like ruthlessness, get it done mentality, but also there has to be an element of humanity in there that just peeks through the cracks a little bit. I think she really nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan is just so compelling in this as, like you said, Johnny, a kind of a goofy scientist who's way out of his depth. You don't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on. But through will and determination and teamwork, he gets it done. And I think it's a really compelling character and a really compelling performance.
I mean, I think the most unbelievable thing about the movie is that, Ryland Grace doesn't have a partner back home because that man has charisma.
He set up walls that he's keeping everybody
No,
out.
I'm just making a joke, but Ryan Gosling is just such a charismatic actor, and he just does such a good job at like balancing the frustrations of his character with like he's just so charming and he's fun to watch. He's funny. I love when he screams. I love when he, stumbles, like he trips over stuff. I love the way that he interacts with Rocky. It's something that I feel like a lot of actors attempt to do, and it's only done successfully pretty rarely, I think, in my opinion, where it's funny because you're just watching someone do something. It's not even what they're saying or why they're saying it. It's just how it's said.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of buy into like the whole performance. And I feel like it's rare.
To have the range to go from slapstick to like really, really dramatic and lonely and sad.
Yeah.
It is really impressive. And like you were talking about before with how this movie really hinges on Rocky working as a character. It also hinges on his performance, Ryan Gosling.
100%.
Because
100%.
He's the only anchor of the movie. I mean, I know Rocky's there, but you're watching this as a human, and he is your human avatar in the movie in this situation, right? Like he's representing us as a planet alone, talking to himself, talking to a rock guy. I mean, it's definitely not an easy task and not something that anybody could do.
No, yeah, 100%.
And on paper, it's kind of a difficult character to portray in that way, right? Like he is a kind of know-it-all character who is smart but doesn't really have the motivation. Like we were talking about E.T., right? Elliot is like the cutest kid alive, and you're just like, of course I'm going to buy in, right? Like it's a little kid dealing with like an animal alien companion. But here, like we have a guy who's kind of made wrong decisions in his life. He's not brave enough to go on his own. Like he's not really making the right decisions until it's absolutely necessary, And I think that's a hard sell, but also as a character, like Ryan does such a good job because it's such a real emotion. I think like no one is really brave like that, right? Like I think everyone kind of needs someone to help motivate them every once in a while. So as an audience member, you're kind of buying in, being like, I get why he's doing what he's doing, but still you're rooting for him. You want him to make the right decision.
Yeah. Well, and it's tropey, but I like the flashback device through the amnesia thing. It's not the first time it's been done. I think it's very effective here. And the way that Johnny was talking about, you parse out new information and it recontextualizes things. Really late in the movie, we get a scene
really late
where he refuses to go. He goes
really
basically at the
twist.
end of the movie.
Yeah, I don't want to save the earth. I don't want to die. I'm
not your guy.
I'm not your guy. And he refuses. He doesn't rise to the challenge. He runs away and they drug him and force him to go. And that could very easily be character assassination, right? That could very easily be a turning point for the audience where they go, fuck this guy. but you've been so enwrapped in the character up until that point, and it comes at the perfect time where like he's going to make the final right choice that you really want him to make, that it makes that decision feel so much more rewarding rather than that reveal being like a killer for the character.
Yeah, that was such an interesting choice that I did not see coming at all. Because obviously he's part of the project and he's training the astronauts, and there's a different guy who's the science guy. And you're thinking throughout the whole movie, the other guy's gonna drop out, he's gonna fall in love with somebody, or he's gonna die, or whatever it is, and then Grace is gonna step up to the plate because he has to. That's what you're thinking the whole time. It really was an interesting twist. Or like as we're talking about how Grace, he doesn't believe in himself at all to do this mission and to solve this problem. But when the way the movie plays out, it was only him that could have done it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because his comedy skills, his way of making friends with Rocky, the knowledge that he has that combines with the knowledge that Rocky has, and they become like a sum greater than each of their parts. Do you know what I mean? All of those things together. Yeah. You look at the other characters and you're like, could they have done it without Grace? If it was the reverse situation and Grace died and the other two lived, I don't think they could have done it. The evil guy from Rush Hour and the AT&T girl. Like if it was, I mean, honestly, think about it. If it was them, like the evil guy from Rush Hour kidnaps Rocky, drives a police car in front of his ship, gets out, you know, it's Rush Hour, kidnaps him, then AT&T girl's using like her amazing service in space to ransom phone call Rocky's planet. And they're like, what are you talking about? We're trying to do the same thing you're doing. We don't have the answer. And they're like, bullshit. Like, you're not going to fucking solve it.
I think that's why it's so cool too that he's a teacher, because he has the patience to like sit with Rocky and like, you know, they try to learn to understand each other.
I like you bringing up the teacher part too, because I didn't even recognize that, but yeah, exactly. Like
his specific skill set was required for this mission,
and from a person who thinks they have no value. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I really like that.
But importantly, I think it's not only his PhD that gets him there. It is his middle school teaching skills,
and his personality.
I think that's something that's just really like it's not just because he's the best in his field. And he outsmarted. It isn't just smart guy saves the world.
He literally says that, right? He says they're way smarter microbiologists than me.
It's smart, nice guy with patience who, you know, has the ability to stop and figure things out and work with Rocky in a way that most people probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's played for comedy a lot. Like, I love the scene where Rocky's running around and he's trying to record his little video.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite scenes. I have a roommate. Personal space is at a premium.
I need to work for it. Bossy. So funny.
And that also goes back to the German lady character, where she sees that in his personality. She sees a humanity and a wanting to be better and to be helpful, right? She sees that within him, and that's why she bets on him.
All right. One of the other big things I think we have to talk about is visually.
Yes.
This movie. We shouted out how good
looked incredible
Rocky is, but the entire movie looks so good. The production design, the costume design, the cinematography, just, oh my God, it's mind-blowing to
Ryan's
watch.
Hair team.
Ryan's hair team.
I was not expecting the cinematography. I have that written in my notes multiple times. I was not expecting the cinematography to be so fucking chef's kiss. Like, the movie
Greg
looks
Fraser, dude. One of the modern greats.
Well, I didn't know it was him. I didn't know. One thing I love that they did was they have this constant camera motif where when it's going to the flashbacks, it's cutting on a roll where it's rolling because they're in space and there's 0G, and that's kind of a normal film thing. But then it's going to a flashback back on Earth, and it transitions with the camera starting to roll and now come back to like normal gravity as he's remembering. And it does that throughout the movie. I really liked that as a camera motif.
I fully agree. Amazing camera work, amazing editing to do those match cuts.
And amazing planning, I think. And you have to see that from start to finish. I think of another thing that the editing is done to either music or comedic beats quite a bit. Like when, you know, the shadow of the thing comes into the ship, or like even the moment where I'm forgetting the guy's name who works at the government with him and they clap.
Carl.
Yeah, when him and Carl clap before they start to get to work and then the music starts.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to know that you wanted to build a sequence kind of with that to even get actors to clap on set, you know? And I think that it speaks to Lord and Miller as directors. Like they kind of have a great comedic timing in all of their movies and
a vision.
Yeah, and a vision. And I think the planning here was done. I don't think any of this was just figured out in the last minute. I'm sure there was a long post schedule and a ton of work done in post. I'm not saying that, but the ideas were planted early and they executed well.
I was just so blown away by so many. The ship sets look incredible. I love sci-fi movies. I love the literary genre, but I love the films as well. And one of the best parts about sci-fi films is what you build that is new and creative and exciting, and the visual aspect of it. And I really think they delivered here. The sequence where he goes out on the Hail Mary to collect the astrophage for the first time, and they go into the infrared scope.
So beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's stunning.
The planet was
shot
incredible.
somewhat practically, where they had like string lights draped down. They put filters on the camera lenses, and it looks so good. And it's that thing too that I love sometimes that movies can achieve, where Grace is doing like somersaults and like is kind of like in awe. And Rocky's like, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm having a moment." And I'm thinking to myself in the theater, I'm having a moment watching this. Like, it's just incredible.
Also, the music was really, really good, I thought. The score.
Really interesting.
Interesting.
It was really, unique. I think there's a moment where it almost sounds like French restaurant music.
How many French restaurants have you been to make such a claim?
Like a handful.
The score is really great, and it works really well tonally and emotionally in different scenes, because there's, like you were talking about in the beginning about Lord and Miller, Johnny, right? There's this blending of the goofy, silly with the sincere and the intensely dramatic. I mean, I think the climax of the movie is great when they go fishing and it all goes wrong and Rocky sacrifices himself to save Grace, and all of these moments. And you somehow had to have a score that felt consistent throughout the film, but in certain parts is like really light and bubbly when they're doing like the world's worst spaceship chase, but also play in these really intense dramatic moments when Grace breaks down crying, when he realizes he's going to go home, when he thinks Rocky is not going to make it, right? Like the score worked on a lot of different levels, which I think is was a tough ask, and it's really effective.
We should talk about like the ending as well too, because talking about Rocky not going to make it, I thought he wasn't going to. Early in the movie, I'm sitting there with my dumbass, like, I've watched a lot of movies. I fucking can predict how movies go. I'm thinking to myself, one of them's going to die. And it's probably going to be Rocky. And when Rocky has to save Grace after the mission goes poorly and has to go out of his atmosphere sphere.
So
and
nice one.
He's like dying. I thought he was fucked. I did not think he was going to come back. And I like that.
I mean, he's literally burning up the way that it's so intense. Yeah.
Well, also too, and then Grace starts going home and realizes that there's a problem and that Rocky's probably going to die in space. And there's that moment where you're like, is he going to go back for him? I love that he does.
Yeah, obviously, like I said earlier, I listened to the audiobook for this one, so I knew how the audiobook ended. But when I was reading the book for the first time, I thought a similar thing would happen, but it would be Rocky came to Earth and just like, did something on Earth. I thought that's like, I don't know, about halfway through the book, I was like, oh, they're probably just going to like all go back and Rocky's going to like, figure out something else.
I didn't think that, but I definitely could have seen that. That's like the more conventional, like basic writing of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's subverting your expectations a little bit about what you think is going to happen with this setup, which I appreciate a lot. At a time in the movie where I was thinking to myself, genuinely, like, what is this guy's arc? Because I didn't have all the information. By the end, the arc is amazing. He goes from somebody who doesn't have any bravery because he's never had a relationship that is worth fighting for, and he's never had that depth of emotion, and now he has it with a fucking rock guy, and he wants to stay there on their planet, living in a dome.
That's the power of friendship, baby.
It's a very hopeful, optimistic, full of heart movie. I love it. One of my favorite movies. I'm such a big fan. Huge shout out to everybody involved. I think they absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's doing well. Also, everyone should go see it in a theater where movies deserve to be.
Is this your guys' favorite like rock guy in a movie?
I like him better than Korg. Who else
you got
for rock guys?
You got Rocky, you got Korg, you got The Thing. and you got
it's
Onyx
better
from
than Fang.
Pokemon.
I like Onyx. I think I go Rocky though. I love
Rank
Rocky.
them. Quick little side ranking.
Which thing am I doing?
Chickless.
New one.
Chickless.
Chickless. Okay. I go Rocky number 1. I go Onyx number 2, Korg number 3, Chickless number 4.
Chickless 4?
Yeah.
I don't know Onyx, so I'm gonna go Rocky, Korg, Chickless, Onyx.
Johnny?
I feel like Jordan just ranked them from smallest to biggest. And that's a little fucked up. That's a little fucked up.
I like little guys.
I'm going to put Onyx at 1, then Chickless, then Rocky, then Korg.
Rocky number 3.
Oh, Chickless over Rocky.
I feel like okay, fine, I'll swap Rocky and Chickless because I'm feeling sentimental.
You guys get any closing thoughts on Hail Mary? Any other little bits to say?
I think this is the best I've felt in an. I'm not a huge fan of sci-fi. I will say that, like in general as a genre. I think obviously it's good when it's good, but I'm not like always into it. But I think this is the best alien movie I've seen since the original Lilo and Stitch. Hot take, maybe.
It's got a Lilo and Stitch type
to,
energy.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it, but yeah, I think Lilo and Stitch and E.T. are good comparisons for like this friendship dynamic with a little alien.
I wouldn't go as far to say it's the best I've ever felt. I like sci-fi a lot, but I thought it was a good one. I really liked it a lot. I liked the sincerity and the goofiness.
I love sci-fi, and I love seeing an original sci-fi story on screen. We've had Dune recently. I think that's been the standout piece of sci-fi filmmaking in the last few years, which obviously is really well done.
Dune is peak.
I do really like it. But outside of that, I don't know, like I gotta go back to like Interstellar or something like that. Maybe I'm missing something. I guess Blade Runner 2049 is
Arrival
after
too,
Interstellar.
I guess.
Love Arrival, but that's 2016, right? So
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
This movie is like Interstellar meets Arrival meets E.T.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
It really is like a combo of those three. Very similar plot to Interstellar.
3 great movies.
Vibe to E.T. Like language, visual stuff to Arrival.
A great intersection to be in, I think.
Yeah, 3 great movies.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening to Rats on Film, everybody. Let us know what you thought of Project Hail Mary. Let us know what your favorite sci-fi films are. Tell a friend about the show. We're a bunch of little rats. Chat about movies. We'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about or rank some more. I think maybe Mario's next, Johnny. I think that's our next step. So we'll
Yeah,
talk
that
about
comes out
Mario.
pretty soon. Hell yeah, that looks sick.
I'm hyped.
Probably a better space movie.
Yeah.
Galaxy? I mean, let's fucking go.
Sure. You know what? You're right. New space
All right,
movie.
Yoshi or Rocky?
I mean, that's
shit.
the easiest question you've ever asked.
Yeah, I mean, I love Rocky.
I'd let
Yoshi.
Rocky's entire planet die to save Yoshi. And that's me being generous.
Thanks for listening, everybody.